Hey everyone, I'm JP and welcome to the channel. We've got some excellent games on sale under $2 and I can't wait to share them with you all. If you're new here, we cover the best deals and new releases here on the console every week. If you enjoy that kind of thing, consider adding us to your weekly rotation here on YouTube. And to the crew, welcome back as always. You all are the coolest people on the internet. Alright everybody, stay safe. Let's go ahead and dive into the video. Alright, we'll start today with Blood Will Be Spilled, which is a single-player strategy platform adventure game. It follows a bounty hunter named Jack on his quest for revenge. The game has an amazing cast of voice actors and beautiful hand-drawn art and animations. The combat is turn-based and can get pretty intense in some parts, as you will be taking on groups of enemies and always seem to be outnumbered. In addition, you'll have to get creative sometimes and learn how to use the environment to your benefit, and this is definitely a fun game. You can pick it up right now for just $1.99. Marked down 87% and the deal ends on the 17th. It has a download around 2 gigs. Up next we have Earth Atlantis, which is a single-player underwater monster hunter from Pixel Perfects. It has a download around 700 megabytes and offers players roughly 3 to 4 hours of gameplay. Now it plays a lot like a standard side-scrolling shooter and gives players a pretty large map to explore, with plenty of variety in the different enemy types to keep things fresh and exciting. As you play through, you'll also find unlockables, including new ships with their own unique special weapons, and you'll need these more powerful ships later on in the game for some of the tougher bosses. As you can see, they went with a unique art style as well, and it looks great here on the Switch. Right now you can pick it up for just $1.99, marked down 87% again until the 17th, and again matching an all-time low. Gato Roboto is a single-player action platformer with a unique retro look from Devolver Digital. The game has a download under 1 gig and should last roughly 4 to 5 hours to wrap up. Now in this one we play as a small cat armed with a robot mech suit as we blast our way through the stages in an alien world. In addition to this, you can leave the vehicle to explore more confined areas or even find different hidden secrets. If you're interested in Gato Roboto, be sure to grab it up before the deal ends on the 10th. It's marked down 75% and matching an all-time low of just $1.99. Up next, we have Giana Sisters, The Twisted Dreams Ultimate Edition. This is a single-player side-scrolling platformer with a download around 1.3 gigs, and it gives players 45 different levels to work their way through. Should last about 5 to 10 hours, depending on how difficult you find each different level. Now it features a pretty cool 2-character mechanic where you have the 2 sisters and you can swap between them with just pushing a button, and doing so will alter the world around you and even changes the music. Plus each sister has their own unique ability that you'll need to solve puzzles and get through the levels as well. On top of all of that, there are collectibles and bonus unlockables, and right now you can pick it up for just $1.99, marked down over 90%, and the deal ends on the 10th. Up next, we have the Gunman Clive HD Collection, which is a package of 2 side-scrolling shooters with a download around 150 megabytes, and combined the package offers maybe 3 to 4 hours of gameplay. Now it's an Old West tale of bandits, cowboys, kidnapped ladies, and shootouts. The controls and shooting feel great, the levels and enemy types are varied, plus having both different games together is always a bonus. These games are a lot of fun, and right now you can pick up the collection for just $1.99, marked down 60% and matching an all-time low until the 21st. Outbuddies DX is another retro-inspired Metroidvania with gorgeous pixel art graphics, and it gives the player more than 10 hours of gameplay with a download around 550 megabytes. Now the game has a pretty cool setting and takes place deep underwater in a sunken city, and along the journey you'll be accompanied by your robot pal named Buddy, and in fact the game actually allows a second player to take control of this character and join you as you play through. It is limited, but it's kinda cool. The game has a truly retro feel to it and gives players a feeling of isolation as you work through the maze-like map looking for items and different upgrades. The controls are great and the combat, while simple, is definitely fun, and overall this game can be quite challenging at different points. Right now you can pick this up for just $1.99, marked down 89% and matching an all-time low until the 17th. Next we have Riddled Corpses EX, which is an arcade-style twin-stick shooter for 1 or 2 players in local co-op. It features multiple game modes including the story mode, which in itself has about 4 hours of content, and in addition you get the arcade mode, which is just all-out mayhem. It offers 6 playable characters, all with unique stats and abilities, upgrades and unlockables, and online leaderboards. If you're on the fence, it does have a demo available, and right now you can pick it up for just $1.99, marked down 80% with the deal ending on the 10th. Rigid Force Redux is a single-player side-scrolling shooter with a download just over 1.5 gigs, and it gives players plenty of replay value for the asking price. Now this game is a remaster of Rigid Force Alpha, and so we follow the same crew as we take on hordes of enemies in some pretty intense combat scenarios. As you play through the levels, you'll find upgrades and power-ups which will stack on top of one another, so if you can avoid taking damage for a bit, you become quite powerful as you mow down tons of enemies. In addition to the main game mode, they also give you a boss rush option, which is always a welcome addition in any game in my opinion. The soundtrack is another highlight with music that pumps you up and gets you ready for the action, and right now you can pick up this gem for just $1.99, marked down 90% and matching an all-time low until the 17th. For fans of the genre, this is definitely worth considering. Up next, we have Super Meat Boy Forever, which is the sequel to one of the most infamously tough single-screen platformers to hit the Switch a few years ago. Now this one has a download around 6.4 gigs, so make sure that you have the space, and sadly this one's limited to just one player. It's definitely going to kick your butt over and over again, but with enough practice, you'll make it through. Luckily, the levels are never too long for the most part, and if you're interested, you could pick it up for just $1.99, marked down 90% until the 10th. Super Punch Patrol is another great game from Horberg Productions. It's the same guy that made the Gunman Clive series from earlier in our list. Again, this one has local co-op for 2 players, only this time it's a beat 'em up with a really unique pen and ink art style. It has a small download at only 150 megabytes, and the main story will last roughly 4 to 5 hours to wrap up. Now the combat is fun and brutal, and again you have multiple playable characters for a bit of variety. If you enjoy a good beat 'em up and a good deal, this is a win-win, and right now it's on sale for just $1.99, marked down 60% until the 21st. Up next, we have AER Memories of Old, which is a single-player 3D adventure title with the unique movement system where you have the ability to transform and fly from island to island as you piece together the story as to why your united world has been left shattered. It has a download around 1.1 gigs and offers roughly 4 hours of gameplay on average, with a map that's large and explorable, plus of course there are secrets and puzzles and more to find. Right now AER is on sale for just $1.99, marked down 90% until the 10th, matching an all-time low. Up next, we have Felix The Reaper, which is a unique single-player puzzle-style adventure title that offers about 8 to 10 hours of gameplay and has a download around 4.3 gigs. Now in this one we play as Felix. He's in love, and so like any normal Reaper, he decides to take up dancing in order to impress the lady. Now the main gimmick here is that you can only move in the shadows, so you'll have to learn to manipulate the sun and get around to solve the different puzzles. It's an interesting game that often gets overlooked, and right now you can get it for just $1.99, marked down nearly 90%, matching an all-time low, and the deal ends again on the 10th. Feudal Alloy is a single-player 2D Metroidvania from A2 Games that offers about 10 hours of gameplay, and the download is just a little under 2 gigs. Now in this one we play as A2, who's a fish-controlled robot, and while that sounds a bit strange, it works within the context of the story. In fact, almost everything in the game is themed around machinery in one way or another, and it is a surprisingly deep Metroidvania with tight controls, interesting level design, and enjoyable combat. You have weapon and gear upgrades that you can find as well, plus there are a ton of secrets and hidden collectibles. This is another hidden gem in my opinion, and right now it's just $1.99, marked down nearly 90% with the deal ending on the 17th. Moonraider is a 2D action platformer with a download around 600 megabytes and a main story that will last roughly 2 to 4 hours to wrap up. In this one we play as Ava on a mission to gather these different moon gems that her mom needs in order to stay alive. Now the game has a ton of secrets to find, cool environments to explore, and again the boss battles are a highlight for us. On top of all that, the game has local co-op for 2 players, which works great, and right now it's on sale for just $1.99, marked down 80%, matching an all-time low until the 18th. Up next we have Mulaka, which is a single-player adventure title with a 4 gig download and a roughly 9 to 10 hour main story. The game is steeped in historical Mexican lore and does offer a nice variety of areas to explore and enemies that you can find and fight. Plus the exploration is a big part of the experience. Mulaka is another steal this week at just $1.99, marked down 90% until the 10th. The download again is around 4 gigs, so just make sure you have space. Runbow is a fun multiplayer competitive platformer with local and online play, allowing up to 9 people to play at once if you go online. The cool thing about this one is that the background is constantly changing, and with it so do the platforms and obstacles, making for some chaotic fun for your entire group to enjoy. It has hundreds of different levels too, so there's a ton of playtime and replay value here, and again this is a great value at just $199, marked down 87%, matching an all-time low to the 17th. You will need around 1.3 gigs for the install. CHROMA Squad is a single-player strategy RPG from Plug-in Digital. It has a download around 800 megabytes and should offer more than 10 hours of gameplay. It's full of charm and features memorable characters and plot lines, gorgeous pixel art and animations, with a chiptune soundtrack to go with them. You have skill trees, upgradable equipment, a crafting system, and of course the tactics-based combat that allows you to combine party members for devastating teamwork-based attacks. If you're interested in CHROMA Squad, be sure to grab it up before the deal ends on the 18th. It's marked down 75% to a new low of just $374. Mortal Shell, the Complete Edition, is a single-player 3D RPG from PlayStack and Cold Cemetery. It has a download of a little over 5 gigs and offers a couple dozen hours of gameplay and features all of the DLC and bonus content that was added to the game since its release. Now the game is basically an indie version of Dark Souls, and thus it does have a few rough edges, but the controls are responsive and it looks pretty good here on the console. It is a difficult game and won't be for everyone, and it certainly isn't as good as the real deal, but right now it's marked down 90% to a new low of just $299, and for that price it's definitely worth checking out. The deal ends on the 13th if you're planning to pick it up. Next up we have Nova 111, which is an addictive real-time adventure game with a download around 340 megabytes, and it offers about 7 or 8 hours of main story gameplay. In addition, it also has turn-based movement and combat similar to something like Cadence of Hyrule, just without the music requirements. Now, one thing you will have to pay attention to is that some environmental hazards move in real time regardless. Now, this does make it a bit more interesting, and you'll have to strategize to take out certain enemies, but it can be kinda tough. It's a fusion of a few genres, and it's been done to perfection. Again, it's addictive as heck, and if you're interested in Nova 111, you can pick it up for just $349, marked down 65% to a new low, with the deal ending on the 17th. Up next, we have the Sharpshooter Bundle, which is a package of 2 games. You'll get the arcade shooter Sniper Hunter Scope with all of the DLC. Now, this game is a ton of fun and has motion controls, which is always a plus for me, as I'm pretty terrible with thumbstick aiming. In addition, you also get Knights and Guns, which is a vertical shooter that has local co-op similar to something like Bug Butcher if you ever played that one. Now, these games alone are worth more than the asking price, and the package has about a 5 gig download, so make sure that you have space. This is definitely a great deal, and right now it's on sale for just $199, which is 93% off, and again a new low until the 17th. Honestly, that's an insane price and well worth at least considering. Void Scrappers is another indie game that's aiming to recapture the magic of Vampire Survivors, and this time they've added a sci-fi twist in. The game has a download around 350 megabytes, and you can expect dozens of hours of gameplay, as these games can be pretty addictive. Now with this one you get 12 playable ships, and overall it feels much faster than most games in the genre, and the pilots you can pick between also have different special starter abilities, so you want to figure out which one's your favorite as you work to unlock all of the extras that are available in the game. Right now you can pick up Void Scrappers for just $259, marked down 35%, bringing it to a new low, and the deal ends on the 24th. This really is a great sci-fi alternative to something like Vampire Survivors. Alright everybody, thanks for hanging out at Legendary. We'll talk again real soon.